Leaving home and stepping into the unknown is one of the life's biggest adventures. Because think about it, it's not just about moving to a new place, it's about stepping into a version of life that challenges you, helps you grow, and shapes you in a million different ways. One day, everything is familiar: the faces, the place, the rhythm of your routine. And then the next, you pack your bags, book the flight tickets, and board a plane. Suddenly, it's all gone. You wake up in a new country, a new city, a new room, and everything around you feels like it belongs to someone else. You don't even speak the new language yet, the streets feel unfamiliar, and every smile around you is unknown. You are standing in a place where no one knows your story. You are a foreigner. That is when you slowly start to realize how much of who you are really depends on the people and the places that used to surround you. Because nobody warns you about the emptiness that comes when you leave home. Nobody tells you how it feels to be separated from the people who you used to see every single day. But that is actually where our stories begin, in the middle of who we were back at home and who we are about to become. Now, can all of you who have ever moved raise your hand? I'm sure that you and all the rest of you are going to understand what I'm about to say. So, I moved from Montenegro to Spain in August 2025. That was the first time I ever had the opportunity to live outside of my home country, so I decided to take it. Since September 2024, I had been planning, working toward, and praying for a chance to move to Spain. I talked about it every single day: a new country, a new school, new people, new connections. Spain became my dream, even though I had no idea whether it would come true. But, oh my, the process wasn't easy. Some may think it's just about leaving everything behind and then leaving to move to a new country, but it's actually much more than that. It's about gathering all the papers, going to the embassy, and applying for a visa. And after that, you have to wait. And wait, and wait. And think about it every single day. Wondering, worrying, hoping. But then one day, I received an email. We got the visas. I started crying and jumping out of happiness. I knew my life was about to change, but in a good way. From that day on, everyone said that I was the most excited person they knew. I was ready to face every challenge and move to Spain. I felt like this opportunity was meant for me, so I could not stop talking about it. And then, the day of the move came. My dad drove my mom, my sister, and I to the airport to say goodbye. I still remember the silent drive. Our emotions were too strong for words. At the airport, we tried not to cry, but when it was time to check in, we couldn't hold back. And then, all of a sudden, I was in Madrid. The first couple of days were fine. It took us about a week to settle in and make our new apartment feel more like home. But after a week, the homesickness hit. I started to miss my dad, my friends, my neighbors. I missed the feeling of being close to people who really knew me. In September, I started school, and although I love meeting new people, making real friends is hard. It really took me some time just to get used to the rhythm of my new life. Now, after months of living in Madrid, I finally realized something important. The thing stopping me from being happy was myself. Before moving, I was the happiest person in the world. And then suddenly, I wasn't. I finally realized that the sadness wasn't because Spain was wrong. It was because I missed my old life so much that I was sabotaging my new one. I was bringing negativity into a life that is actually an answered prayer. That is when I learned that I need to change, and so I did. A year ago, I wrote a children's book about rocket ships. What I did is that I took a look at my life in a way that a 7-year-old child or that a 7-year-old me would. very simply, clearly, and hopefully. That moment led me to create this metaphor for life titled the rocket ship metaphor, which enabled me to overcome hardships and challenges that I faced along the way. It looks like this, and it begins with a nose cone. The nose cone is your vision. What do you want in life? I asked myself what my vision was, and the answer was simple. I want to be happy. And then I moved to the next part, which is the capsule. The capsule is your inner self. It is the values and beliefs that you hold and protect. I learned that I always needed to bring them forward and stand by them. Now, we have the body tube. The body tube is your daily routine. It is the structure of your life that keeps everything together. So, I started building new, adapted routines. Something that I do every day, for example, is that I call and text people who I miss in order to maintain relationships. Moving on, we have the fuel. Fuel is motivation and support. It is the power that keeps you going. Every day, I remind myself why moving to Madrid is one of the best things that has happened to me so far. For me, it's a move that opened and still opens an infinite number of doors. This is a time when I truly start living my life. And lastly, we have the engine. The engine is your action. It is the consistent effort you put into becoming a better version of yourself. Using this rocket ship metaphor, I created a structure for my life that invited positivity instead of fear. And slowly and gradually, everything started to change. I became less stressed, more confident, and happier. Leaving home was hard. But the actual move was never really the problem. I was afraid that the feeling of home in Montenegro would change, or that I would grow distant from the people who I love. But those fears weren't real. What I needed was to grow. It's just that I hadn't realized it yet. But after some time, I did. At the other end of this distance, personal growth was waiting for me. And I traveled all the way from Montenegro to Spain to discover it and become a mature teenager. I learned that to enjoy my life, I have to feel confident being myself. And if I feel confident being myself, I'll be able to overcome any challenge. The key to all of these things as well is determination and desire. You have to want your life to become better. And then you have to set specific goals which you want to achieve. After that, you work hard and harder to achieve them, and eventually, you will. I finally realized that this change in my life resulted in personal growth. And personal growth is exactly what brought me to where I am today. Now, I'm more than happy that I moved to Madrid. I'm still excited to go back to Montenegro for holidays, but I'm also grateful for the life that I'm building here. Now, what I want you to take from this speech is that leaving home is scary. But what if that fear is exactly what tells us that the opportunity is worth taking? It's a journey where you meet new people, build new connections, and say yes to the chances that appear along the way. Because you never really know what life is preparing for you. So, keep taking opportunities. Do not be afraid of change because it can be good and transformative. And even if the choice that you make isn't the perfect one, home will always be there waiting for you. Thank you.